Hello and welcome. Today we are diving into a topic that is literally all around us. From the apps on your phone to the shows you binge watch, we're talking about intellectual property. We're going to break down exactly how we protect the amazing creations that come from our own minds.
You know that feeling, right? That light bulb moment. You come up with a brilliant idea for an invention, or you write a song that you just know is a hit. But then that second thought creeps in. How do I make sure this idea stays mine? How do I stop someone else from just taking it? Well, that's the big question, and we're going to answer it today.
So here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we'll cover the basics. What even is intellectual property? Then we'll take a little journey through its history right here in India. We'll look at some major law changes, see how IP is used as a global report card for innovation, and wrap up with its huge role in society.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The big idea. What in the world is intellectual property?
The official definition is pretty broad. It's all about the creations of the mind. The key thing to get here is that it's not about physical stuff. It's about the idea behind the stuff. So think about a book. The IP isn't the paper and ink, it's the actual story, the words, the characters. For a machine, it's not the nuts and bolts. It's that unique, clever invention that makes it work. It's all about protecting the intangible.
Now, IP isn't just one thing. It's kind of like a big umbrella with different types of protection underneath it. Let's break them down. First, you've got copyrights. This is for your creative works, books, music, art, and even software code. Then there are patents. These are for brand new inventions. If you invent a teleportation device, you'd get a patent for it. Trademarks are all about brand identity, logos, slogans, that kind of thing. Geographical indications, or GIs, are pretty cool. They tie a product to where it comes from, so you know that Darjeeling tea can only come from Darjeeling. Industrial designs protect how something looks, its shape, its aesthetic. And finally, trade secrets. This is the secret sauce, literally sometimes. It's confidential info that gives a business an edge.
To really get a handle on where we are today, we've got to look at where we've been. So let's take a trip back in time and explore the history of IP right here in India.
And this journey goes way back. Check this out. The very first patent in India was granted way back in 1856. Now, they didn't call it a patent then, it was an exclusive privilege. And what was it for? Get this, an efficient punka pulling machine. How cool is that? It was invented by a civil engineer named George Alfred Depenning, a really awesome piece of history. So that first patent in 1856 was really just the beginning. The law was based on the British system. Then, moving along the timeline, in 1911, things get more organized with the Indian Patents and Designs Act. Now, jump to 1949, and this is super important. A committee suggested that patent rights shouldn't be misused, especially for critical things like food and medicine. That theme becomes really central. This push for reform kept going, leading to another committee in 1957 and finally to the big one, the Patents Act of 1970. This act is basically the foundation of modern patent law in India.
But here's the thing about laws. They can't just be set in stone. The world changes, technology changes, and so the laws have to change too. Let's look at how India's IP laws have kept pace.
That 1970 Act got some major updates over the years. In 1999, we see exclusive marketing rights introduced for pharma and agricultural products. Then in 2002, a really big change. The term for a patent was bumped up from 14 years to 20 years, which brought it in line with the global standard. And then in 2005, another huge step. Product patents were expanded to cover all technology fields, including food, drugs, and chemicals. This was all about aligning India's laws with the rest of the world.
And it wasn't just patents. Copyright law evolved too. In 1984, the penalties got tougher. In 1994, copyright societies became mandatory, which helped creators manage their rights. But the real game changer came in 2012. This amendment brought Indian law into the digital age. But most importantly, it was a massive win for creators because it made sure that authors and music composers actually get paid royalties for their work. In a world of streaming, that is absolutely crucial.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about laws, but why does all this matter on a global scale? Well, it's because IP has become a way to measure a country's innovation. It's like a report card.
And this slide tells a really important story. A 2020 report shows India ranking an amazing 4th in the world for research publications. That means we're creating a ton of new knowledge. But, and this is a big but, look at the other side. When it comes to actually protecting that knowledge with IP rights, the rank plummets to 50th. That gap between creating ideas and protecting them is one of the biggest challenges for India right now. And that gap matters because of this. As the quote says, IP is reflective of a nation's innovation and research output. What does that really mean? It means a strong IP portfolio sends a message to the world that you're not just a country of thinkers, but a country of doers, who turn those great ideas into valuable assets that can power the whole economy.
All right, for our last section, let's zoom out and look at the biggest picture of all. What is IP's role in our society? And trust me, it is a very delicate balancing act.
Think of it like a scale. On one side, IP is fantastic. It gives people a financial reason to invent and create. I mean, if you know you can profit from your invention, you're more likely to spend the time and money making it happen. But if you tip the scale too far and the rules are too strict, you get problems. For example, some IP rules around seeds can make it hard for farmers to do what they've always done, save seeds for the next season. And sometimes, patents can make life-saving medicines way too expensive for the people who desperately need them.
So what's the answer? How do you find that perfect balance? The solution is baked right into the law, exceptions. For instance, copyright has something called fair use, which lets people use protected material for things like teaching or news reporting. And for patents, there's a really powerful idea called compulsory licensing. Basically, in a public health emergency, a government can say, hey, we need this life-saving drug, and allow other companies to produce it to make sure everyone can get it. It's all about rewarding the inventor while still looking out for everyone else.
Okay, let's do a super quick recap. First, we learned that IP is all about protecting those intangible creations of the mind. We saw how India's IP laws have been on a long journey of evolution since 1856. We learned that a country's IP game is a huge indicator of how innovative it is on the world stage. And maybe most importantly, we saw that the best IP systems are all about finding that sweet spot, that balance between creators' rights and society's needs.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. We live in a world that is changing at warp speed. We've got AI creating art, incredible new discoveries in science. So the big question is, how do our laws keep up? How should they change to protect the next wave of brilliant ideas?
Hey, thanks so much for sticking with me through this explainer. I really hope you found it useful.
If you did enjoy this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button and definitely subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'd really love to hear your take on that final question, so drop a comment below and let's talk about it. See you in the next one.